is there just kind of a sense maybe in the locker room that like some of the success you've had over the last week could prove to be your big breakthrough or kind of maybe a turning point for you guys for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all feeling good. I think the energy's high. Really good win in Minnesota. Had a chance to celebrate together. I think that only helps our chemistry. You know, all that stuff off the court definitely fuels us. We're having fun with each other. We're having fun together playing. So I think it is. I think this is a good moment for us, and you know, especially we're playing without one of our best players. So to do that in those circumstances, we're really just proud of ourselves.
The Las Vegas Aces. Joe Apney Op KOWNBA. Key. Unstoppable Dynasty Samajti. Hain, Wo, Aj Dunya, Ka, Sam Poritera, Se Sharminda Hogeya, Hain, Ek, Zabardast, 27-point Kihar Eastmain, Asia Wilson, Nihar Friendly, Whistle Lali, Fear Apney Team, Ko Bashane, Main Nakam Rahi, Ek Barichek, Chelsea Gray, Jaise Kuch, Log Biwaja, Caitlin Clark, Se Betterine, Samaj Te Hain, Wo, Sab's Critical Whacked Main, Gayuba Hoge, Sab's Body Check, Yathi, Jab Asia Wilson, Peach, Say Players Ko Pacadney Main, Busy Theer Fowls, Say Box Rahi Thee, Tab Indianapolis Main Ek Team Thee, Joe Undecane, Wally Thee Osley, Team First or High IQ Basketball, Kaya Hoda High, Ager Op Fever Ki Supporter Hain, To Niche Comments Main CC, and Lexie Likna Na Bulan, Chalo Sharukart Hain, Indiana Fever Knee, Finally Aces Ko Haraya. Ya Uncapella Win Tha, Las Vegas Aces K Kilof Tab, Say Jab Main 22 Sol, KTHA.WOH8154, Kaklinik Jo Indiana Fever, Adalah Dia Sir Vegas Kelai Eklos, Nahita, Ya, Ek Zabardast, Pagam Tha, Ekni on board Joe Fever, Red Main Chamak, Rahatha, Karef.
And Asia Whistle Wilson. My God, you see how many free throws that lady have? Oh my God, on the stat sheet she had basically 30 points, but all the free throws this woman got, man. They tried their best to keep the Aces in the game, man, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter, man. They destroyed the Aces. About freaking time the Fever finally beats the Aces, man. And without Caitlin Clark.
Ka handouts Wilson Key Stat Padding, or Dynasty K Hype Se Koifark, Nahipata, Jabtak, Indiana Apna Game, Lockkark Reel. Connected Basketball, Kelnlagda, HAI.is Gitni Dikadia Kiosli Team Game, or Discipline Kakia Matlab Hota High, Jab Players Milk Ek Dusser Ki Lai, Kelt Hain Tahar Defense Break Hojada High, or Harshot Confidence Say Banta High, Yawo Moment Thaw Jab Fever Ni Apni Osli Takat Sab Kasam Ladibi Nakasi, Excuse Kahabi, Taksab Aces Key Dominance Key Bot Card, the Leakin Ab, Ya Clear Ho Gaia, High Key Jab, Fever Focused, Hoj, Takoi B, T Monk, Somnahi Tik, Shakti, Ya Surf Ek Match Nahi Tha, Ya Ek Naya, Erika Hagastha, Jahan Team Effort or Hustle Sabs Uperhoda, HAI.now. Let's zoom in on the moment when this battle really heated up. In the third quarter, Lexie Hall, who's been grinding and improving all season, boxed out Wilson so perfectly it could be a coaching highlight. She created space, planted herself exactly where she needed, and grabbed that rebound like she's done 1,000 times in practice. Pure textbook basketball. But then, Asia Wilson came crashing in from behind, literally reaching over Lexie's shoulders and arms to snatch the ball in a move so blatant it belongs in the what not to do reel. The shot missed, and the refs called a jump ball instead of the obvious foul. Stephanie White was visibly upset, and honestly, anyone who's watched even a single AAU game knows that's an over-the-back foul. Indiana ball. Case closed. But somehow, the officials rewrote the rules live on TV, ruling it a jump ball, as if Wilson had an equal right to that rebound after bulldozing Hall from behind. This win was huge for the Fever. They had never beaten the Aces before, going 0-16 against them, and now they did it without Caitlin Clark. This team is something else. Even the broadcast crew was caught off guard, alternating between stunned, silence and awkward chuckles as they tried to process what was happening. The contact was crystal clear, the foul undeniable, yet the refs rewarded the player who committed the foul. It was frustrating, but here's the poetic part. The Fever didn't fold or whine about the calls. They shook it off, tightened up, and dismantled the Aces so thoroughly that every questionable call became irrelevant. Let's break down how Indiana flipped what could have been a momentum boost for Vegas into a one-sided showcase of brilliant basketball. From the jump, Indiana attacked relentlessly. They scored the first 6 points and never let up. By the end of the first quarter, the Fever led 21-4. Vegas looked lost, shooting under 29% while Indiana shot nearly 53%, dominating the paint 16-4. It was clear this wouldn't be the Aces' night. Indiana hadn't beaten Vegas since 2019. Until now, in the second quarter, the Fever went for the kill, outscoring Vegas 25-10. No typo there. Indiana shot a staggering 82% from the field, while Vegas stumbled to 24%. Fever was perfect in the paint, going 6 for 6, while the Aces managed a pitiful 3 for 13. By halftime, the score was 46-24. Game pretty much over. That controversial jump ball happened just when Vegas needed a miracle to fight back, but the refs' help wasn't enough to change the tide. Despite the refs tossing Vegas a bone, Indiana stayed focused, disciplined, and high energy on both ends. Coach White praised the team's effort and attitude, all smiles after 20 minutes with a 22-point lead. But frustration was brewing. Lexie Hall did everything right, yet the calls didn't go her way. That's the kind of thing that can rattle young teams, especially against a powerhouse like the Aces. But Indiana kept answering back, with clutch shots and relentless defense, showing they're battle-tested and ready for anything. That so-called gift from the refs was nothing more than a desperate gasp for oxygen from Vegas. Down big and hunting for any lifeline, they suddenly got handed a 50-50th ball that was anything but fair. For a brief moment, it looked like maybe, just maybe, the officiating might start tipping the scales back toward the defending champs. Pure frustration for Indiana, but the Fever weren't about to back down. Catch and shoot, bang. From the foul line, front rim, it drops. Rebound goes to the Fever. Mitchell, right wing, open for three money. The Aces shot a miserable 26% from the field, the lowest any Fever opponent has managed in 15 years. But Indiana wasn't satisfied just holding them down. Their lead swelled to 68-47 going into the fourth, and that final quarter. It was outright humiliation. The Aces managed just 7 points in the entire period. 7 points. That's not pro-level offense, that's a total systems meltdown. The 81-54 final score almost flatters Las Vegas. The truth is Indiana tore them apart, piece by piece. Yes, let's get that dub. Now, we have to pause and talk about A'ja Wilson's so-called big game. Sure, she dropped 29 points on 9 of 18 shooting, and feasted at the line going 11 of 13. On paper, that looks like superstar production until you realize she shot nearly as many free throws as the entire Indiana roster combined. The whistles were so friendly, they might as well have come gift-trapped. Yet, despite all that charity, the supposed best player in the world finished 27 points in the hole. Wilson got a favorable whistle in the second half. Sure, but superstar or not, stats don't lie. 29 points, 3 boards, 3 personal fouls, 3 turnovers, 9 for 18 from the field, and 11 for 13 from the charity stripe. Now look at the rest of the Aces lineup. 2 points, 2 points, 2 points, 6 points, 0 points, 4 points, 2 points, 3 points. Dana Evans was 1 for 10. 1 for 10. That's rough. The league's crown jewel put up a flashy stat line, but it meant nothing because the rest of the Aces looked lost, completely ghosted by the Fever. Chelsea Gray vanished when it mattered most, while Indiana played like a team on a mission to burn down the dynasty narrative for good. And through all this, Caitlin Clark, Lexie Hall, and the Fever weren't just running a game plan. They were rewriting the league's power structure live on TV. Lexie Hall didn't let the bad calls rattle her. She doubled down, hunted rebounds like a predator, and made A'ja Wilson work for every inch. Meanwhile, Clark, the team's maestro, orchestrated the offense, spaced the floor, and sparked fast breaks that left the Aces scrambling. Frustrations, maybe, but it was more about making a statement. Clark joked she got a bonus, and she did. That Commissioner's Cup prize money, rumored to be $43,000 to $49,000 per player, from a $500,000 prize pool. And Steph White, she was clearly furious about the officiating. Whether it was Wilson's whistles or just the general lack of fairness, it showed. But let's break down the brutal truth for the so-called dynasty in Vegas. Outside of Wilson's 9 for 18 shooting, the rest of the Aces combined went a pitiful 7 for 43 from the field. That's a laughable 16.3% shooting from everyone else. No other Ace cracked 6 points. Think about that. This team, hyped for their depth, basically left their MVP candidate playing 1-on-5, while the rest disappeared like Houdini under Fever's relentless pressure. And as for the referees, well, you know the story. At one point, it looked like the refs were starting to lean in favor of the Aces, trying to help them claw back into the game. But Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hall weren't having any of it. They stepped in and completely shut that down. Meanwhile, Kelsey Mitchell never let up, keeping the gas pedal pressed all night long. And honestly, this was the best we've seen from Stephanie White all season. You could tell she was already frustrated with the officiating. But by the fourth quarter, with 5:35 left, she completely lost it on the sidelines. Let me just say, the cameras caught it all. Stephanie losing her cool, pacing, yelling, and then getting teed up by the refs. Caitlin Clark. She absolutely loved it. Speaking of support, let's talk about Chelsea Gray for a moment. This is the same Chelsea Gray some fans swear is better than Caitlin Clark. Well, the stat sheet tells a much harsher story. Gray finished The Knight, with just 2 points on 103 shooting, dished out only 2 assists and turned the ball over 5 times. Yep, 2 points. This is supposed to be the seasoned floor general, the one who runs the offense and lifts everyone else up. Instead, she looked stuck in quicksand, as Indiana's smothering defense forced sloppy passes and mistakes at every turn. Gray ended up with more turnovers than points and assists combined. Point God, more like point fraud. And yes, those same people who claim she was better than Clark are going to have some explaining to do. Meanwhile, from the bench, Caitlin Clark was on fire in a completely different way. Even injured, she was a force, lighting up the sidelines, hyping up teammates, leading with her voice, and exploding out of her seat after every big play. The cameras caught her fired up and locked in every possession. That's the kind of leadership you just can't teach. She might not have been racking up minutes, but she was 100% fueling the team's energy and momentum. Let's get real. The Fever's performance without their franchise star was nothing short of a masterpiece. Kelsey Mitchell poured in 25 points and handed out 6 assists. Aaliyah Boston was dominant inside with 20 points and 7 rebounds, proving why she's one of the league's most polished bigs. Natasha Howard was on a mission, putting up a double-double with 11 points and 10 rebounds, and earned the Commissioner's Cup MVP for her relentless effort. This was pure team basketball, unselfish, executed perfectly under pressure. The defense, phenomenal. The Fever looked like a completely different squad, sharp, connected, and relentless. The Commissioner's Cup seemed to give them some serious swagger. Natasha Howard went full beast mode, aggressive and unstoppable. Rookie Timpson was everywhere, blocking shots, grabbing steals. And Aaliyah Boston, she was wrecking AJ Wilson on every possession. Speaking of Wilson, she earned a new nickname tonight, Whistle Wilson, because this lady was cashing in on every friendly call, constantly getting to the free throw line. But even with all those freebies, she wasn't lighting up the scoreboard the way her team needed. If you want to understand the story of the game, forget the points. It was all about defense. Indiana's lockdown defense was so tight, they might as well have been guarding the Vegas Heat, holding the mighty Aces to a mere 26% shooting, their worst offensive night all season. They forced a staggering 17 turnovers, controlled the paint 28-10 in just the first half, and played like a team with a single, shared brain. Every switch was crisp, every help rotation on point. Pure basketball clinic. The Aces tried to spark a run early in the third quarter, but Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hall smothered any hope with timely big shots. That steal from Cunningham led to her only 2 points, but it was a momentum killer for Vegas. Meanwhile, Aaliyah Boston was relentless, driving hard and giving A'ja Wilson everything she could handle. The eye test backed up the brutal stats. Wilson's flashy 29 points looked good on highlights, but did absolutely nothing to stop Indiana's dismantling of the Aces. Indiana moved the ball crisply, turned defense into fast break gold, and executed like a playoff-ready squad. Wilson's buckets, empty calories, shiny stats, but her team was still nearly 30 points behind when the buzzer sounded. When did the Indiana Fever become the best defensive team in the league? After that Commissioner's Cup celebration, we thought maybe they'd be a little hungover, but their defense was up 100% in the first half. They held the Aces to a 22-point deficit, and get this, they had only beaten Vegas once in 9 years. For those who don't know, that's right, just one win against the Aces in nearly a decade. The defense was impenetrable. They scored 28 points in the paint in the second quarter alone and shot 90% from the field. This was insane. And through it all, Caitlin Clark was on the sidelines, pure joy radiating from her. Every camera cut to her showed a player fully locked in, celebrating every hustle play, every three-pointer, every forced turnover like it was the championship game. Contrast that with the Aces bench, a total funeral procession. Slumped shoulders, blank stares, no answers. They couldn't figure out how the game slipped away so badly. This game shone a harsh spotlight on a truth that's been bubbling all season. The Las Vegas Aces are far from the unstoppable juggernaut they keep telling themselves they are. Their chemistry is off, and it showed tonight in brutal fashion. Confidence, shaken to the core. And when the pressure mounts, the Aces fold like a cheap card table. They're a shadow of the squad that once struck fear into the entire league. Meanwhile, the Fever, they didn't just capitalize on Vegas's weakness, they slammed the gas pedal down and never let up. This wasn't some squeaky feel-good upset, no. Indiana absolutely demolished Las Vegas in a way that shouted, "We're built for moments like this. You're not?" This was a full-on team win, and you could see it in the numbers, minus 24 assists on 31 made shots. That's pure ball movement. The Fever held the mighty Aces to a brutal 26% shooting from the field. 26%, that's smothering defense. Folks, the Aces weren't just missing shots, the Fever were everywhere, locking down every angle. Neither team could hit a three-pointer, except for Kelsey Mitchell, who just kept draining daggers like clockwork. Let's circle back to A'ja Wilson for a second. Sure, she got all the help in the world from the referees grabbing players from over their heads and somehow walking away with jump balls instead of fouls. She strutted to the free throw line 13 times, just for fewer than the entire Fever roster combined. Yet, despite all that charity, the so-called best player in the world dropped 29 points that didn't come close to changing the final scoreboard. Indiana, 81. Las Vegas, 54. That's ultimate humiliation. Wilson's flashy stats, just expensive wallpaper on a crumbling house. Indiana sent a seismic message with this game. They don't fear names on jerseys, aren't intimidated by MVP resumes, and won't wilt under the bright lights or questionable officiating. They've got real chemistry, genuine fight, and that collective belief championship teams are built on. TC Gang. Fever Gang, down goes the punk-ass Las Vegas Aces. Kelsey Mitchell, the Roadrunner, dropping daggers with a 25-piece. Olia Boston with the whole feast: rotisserie chicken, baked beans, corn on the cob, mashed potatoes, and every drink you can imagine. Lexie Hull, the tiny assassin, slicing through defenses and dropping buckets. A'ja Crybaby, Ace Wilson, hold this L, you're nothing but a free throw merchant tonight. Indiana Fever, that's how you ball. Whatever's going on right now, you've got the momentum. We can't wait to see Caitlin Clark back on the floor. Meanwhile, the Aces, they better hurry up and figure out who they want to be, because this blowout exposed one undeniable truth. They are no longer the gold standard. They're no longer the inevitable champs waiting to be crowned. Indiana Fever just snatched that hype, and they did it without Caitlin Clark even needing to lace up. Here's the bottom line for the rest of the WNBA. All the friendly whistles and highlight reels in the world won't save you when you run into a team that plays connected, fearless basketball. The Fever changed the hierarchy tonight. They've arrived, and they're here to stay. And if they dismantled the Aces like this without Caitlin Clark on the floor, just imagine what's coming when she's back, dropping logo threes and orchestrating like only she can. If you're a Fever fan, comment, CC, and Lexie. Smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of this new era.